Hey everybody, it's Glam and a Tea. Welcome to the channel today. I am going to try and do a green cut crease. I've been seeing a lot of pictures of it. It's really beautiful. One of my really good friends sent me some inspiration. Whenever things get stressful for me, I like to say I like turtles. So I will post a picture of what that turtle looks like that I'm going to try and replicate somehow. As you see, my brows are already done. Again, mine aren't even in the same family tree, so it is what it is. So I'm going to start out and I am going to prep the lids using my standard Painterly. I did pick up some smaller sponges and I'm kind of liking the shape of this and where it goes or how it works. It was a 2-piece set at TJ Maxx for $6. So my daughter took the other half and I kept this one. All right, moving on. So again, going in with Painterly pre-dampened sponge, grabbing some of the product on the end and then just blotting that onto the lid and pushing it up a little bit further because I want to be able to do a pretty dramatic cut crease with this. So pushing it all over, making sure that it is evenly covered, blended out. So the thing I'm noticing about this sponge is it dries really quickly, so I think it could be the material that it's made out of. It's not an official beauty blender sponge, but we'll see how that works when it comes to doing my foundation because the sponge is already wet. So, all right. So I'm kind of going to go about this a couple different ways. I want to be able to use exclusively the James Charles palette, but I don't think I'm going to have all of the green shades that I want. So I may dip into the Urban Decay Elements palette. And I do know that I am going to use Jeffree Star Velour Liquid Lip. I'll grab that in the Crocodile Tears, and I'm going to use that basically as the upper part of the cut crease, blend this out and work on that. So I am going to grab a brush and we will get started. So for this, I am trying to find kind of the brush that I use to conceal under my brows with. I'm going to use this to lay the product down. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to naturally leave my crease so I can see where that is and go just above that with this. And then out. So I'm going to lay that product just above that line. Put it on pretty stark and then I'll buff it out. And don't worry about any that gets down under here. I'm going to clean that up with concealer and everything. All right. Put the cap back on and work on blending. As you'll notice, I always put my hand on the side of my face. It's just like a stability piece, and every once in a while I just get a light little pull to tighten up that skin. That way I'm not pulling directly on the actual eyelid, because you can see from years of pulling on my eyelid that I do have a little bit of a wrinkly lid. All right. So again, pushing that Jeffree Star, Crocodile Tear around. And I kind of want this upper shape here to mimic what my arch of my brow is doing too. Just, I'm going to fill in with other colors to get that space so it's not so contrasting. But as of right now, just so you can kind of see and get the idea of where I'm going with the general shape. So to back it up a little bit, what you're going to want to do is take the tip of the brush, start at the inner corner of the eye, and run a line all the way above the crease out to the outer edge of the eye, just below where your tail of your brow is, and then come back in with the brush and blend everything upwards, smoothing it so it's not just a stark, bright color. You can see that there's a lot of color still left, but it's not wet looking because of the velour part. So I am going to just check again to be sure I have everything there that I want. And then I am going to move into the color tones. So we are going to hop into the Jeffree Star palette. I'm going to go in starting out with the shade Social Blade. So it's this one right here. I'm going to try and rock it up towards the upper edge of this crease, so that way when I go in with Daddy in the darker green color, it'll be more defined towards the crease. So that color is Social Blade. I am going to use my Morphe M503 brush, dipping that in, tapping off the excess, and running that right along the top. So the thing, whenever you use a liquid underneath a powder, you get that line that you really have to work to blend out. So this is going to be a little bit of a fast forwarding process for you guys, so that way I can blend it out even better. And like I said, because the colors aren't giving me exactly what I want, I will have to hop around a little bit, but again, just blending and reapplying and blending and reapplying will help with some of that. But I really wanted that upper edge to be brighter, so I don't know if you guys can tell that or not. So to talk you through this step, taking your M503 brush or any light fluffy brush, you're going to go right on the upper edge on the outer corner of the tail that you drew with the green, and kind of pack that on, and then you can either use circular motions to blend that out, or you can use the windshield wiper back and forth. So as you see, it's really softening down that upper edge and blending out the outer corner. So then I am going to take a little more and bring it all across the top of the inner corner that I cut the crease with as well, because I want it to look like a full bright upper edge. So again, packing that on and then just blending it. So I know you guys can still see the line there, and that's what I'm trying to blend out. Doing a little bit of a circular motion and a windshield wiper motion just to blend that in. What I really wanted to do is grab onto that shadow or onto the liquid that I put down. See, and it's softening it down just a little bit. It's still going to be pretty stark on that inner side, but again, I'm going to work to blend that out with Daddy as well, so these two light and dark greens blend together. All right, gonna work on blending that out some more. I'll be back to you guys in just a moment. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with the dual-ended brush that I had from Anastasia by Beverly Hills. I'm going to dip into that color Daddy and work with that. Now with this one, like I said, I want to blend Social Blade and Daddy together, but I really want this to be a stark green that shows up. So I'm actually going to pack this in starting on the inner corner, just above where we used that crocodile tear. Pack that right up in the edge of the crease, nice and tight. Nice and firm. And then I will go in and blend, pick up just a little bit of Social Blade and Daddy together and blend them. So as you can see, it really darkened that up. So just flipping that Anastasia brush around, picking up some of Social Blade and Daddy, and then I'm just gonna blend, buff and blend. And again, remember, if anything comes down below where you did that original crease, don't worry about it. We're gonna go back in and recut that. So just buff and blend. And blending, you guys, can sometimes be a quick blend. Otherwise, you know, especially when you're using brighter colors, you do really want to blend them out. So it just looks like the colors have melted together. So as you can see, it's darkened that back up again. And again, blending, 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 blending. All throughout the whole lid. The one thing that I've noticed with filming with an iPhone, it's a little difficult because you can't exactly zoom in. So I have to lean in, and whenever I lean in, you guys get weird views of my face. It's kind of crazy. I'm sorry for that. All right. So I feel like that is a pretty good blend. I actually just want to darken that crease even further. So I think I'm going to go in with Spooky, which is the black shade in the James Charles palette. So it's this one right here. And I'm actually going to get even more of a tighter brush to pack that in there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the MAC 212 SE brush that I've had for a really long time. It's just a flat tipped brush. So picking up some of that product. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop this, I'm going to place this again kind of on the lower edge of where we use that alligator or the crocodile tears, and all up in that tight crease area. So if you kind of look down, you can see where your lid goes. So starting at the inner corner, pushing that in, just dabbing motions. And then, like I said, I'll blend that. But I like the way that this brush pushes it into the crease to give it more of a definition. And then obviously, like I said, you're going to want to blend that because otherwise you're going to end up with this weird looking black line. So, product placed. I'm going to go back in with my M503. And circular blend. I may even, like I said, I'm not exactly sure where I'm going to land with this look. I did want to try and put some glitter in the crease, but we'll see. We'll see where we go. So as you can see, it just needs to be blended out a bit more. Otherwise, it's just going to look like a black line. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more Daddy and blend them together. Right over that black, just blending it, darkening it up. So as you can see, the color differentiation from the bright, God, why can't, Social Blade, I'm sorry, Jeffree Charles, I'm sorry. Social Blade, down to Daddy, down to Spooky. Okay. Just really work on blending. Really work on blending. And there, work on that inner side. really elevated it. Just so you guys can see. And I'll go back in and do the other eye after I'm finished with this one. This is the first time I'm doing one solid eye and not going back and forth. I wanted to try something a little different. So I'm going to decide where I'm going to go with the lid area next. I'll be back in a few. All right, everybody, so I've done a little bit of research and I think I am going to do the Urban Decay Elements palette, but I also think I'm going to use a little bit of the Becca Volcanic Goddess palette, and I'll show you the colors that I'm going to use. So let's get into prepping the lid so we can do this concealing, cutting it back in. So I am going to use my Smashbox Studio Skin 24-Hour Concealer in light. And with the concealer, I just use the applicator wand and dot that kind of on the center of the lid. And then going back in with a synthetic, little bit bigger synthetic brush and pushing that up into the crease and kind of blending it in. And then I'm actually going to pull the tail of it out as well. So going into the inner corner, tapping and patting, pushing that concealer on, redefining that cut, and then I'm going to take it kind of cut off the corner a little bit, just kind of giving it an upward swoop. So just blend that down, pat that down. Make sure it's nice and even. I've seen a lot of videos when people are doing their cut crease, they put the product on and then they look up and then it'll kind of give you where the cut is. But being that I did this a little bit backwards, I already have my space that I need to put that in. So to prep for the whiter shade that I'm going to do, I'm going to take just a fluffier brush and dip into Flashback because I really want that white to show. And then I'm going to be using the two colors from the other palettes, the Becca palette and the Urban Decay, to give it a little more shimmer. So dipping into Flashback, pulling quite a bit of that white, and then just placing that right over that concealer. Just using a tapping motion to press that on, picking up a little bit more for the inner corner. And then blending it out onto that outer side. Like I said, I want this to stay a little bit on the whiter side. If you could see it the way I see it, it looks a little bit more of a skin tone. But that's okay. Like I said, I wanted it to be brighter, so just making sure I've got that white base that I'm looking for. And you can do that just by adding more product in if you need to, which I just did, or just moving on. All right. So now that we have that, we're just, like I said, I'm going to play between the Urban Decay's Elements palette, and it's the center shade Luna, which I'm not totally sure I'm gonna go there. You can see I've used it with blue because it's got a little more purple in it, pinks and purples, but I think it might be okay. And then, like I said, probably gonna go into the Becca Volcanic Goddess into Diamond Dust, just because I like that gold tone to it more than I like the pinks. So with this, I am going to take that same brush that I used with the white, dip into Diamond Dust. And this is a pretty flaky shadow, so we're going to just lay it down first and see if I need to go back in with it wet. And I do. Because it's just giving me sparkles, which isn't necessarily always bad, but not what I'm going for. So I'm using some Fix Plus on the brush. I'm gonna go in and pick that up. Why is it going pink? What's going on? Hold on. There must be still some pink on this brush. Let's get a new one because it just did. that, and I don't want that. So I'm going to use just a flatter tip brush. This is the Stella 03. Had this one. This used to be my painterly brush that I'd use to set my eyes with. So, wow. Okay, well, when you get this wet, okay, I'm going to show you guys. This is not where I'm going. I should have tested this before. When you get this wet, it doesn't stay white. It goes peach. So, hold that thought. That's not where I wanted to go with this. I guess we are going into Luna. There we go. If my light flickers, I'm sorry, you guys. Titan is underneath my makeup table. All right, so we're gonna have to go back in and clean up that crease. Going back in with the M503. And that did give the lid the shimmer that I'm looking for. It's not too bad with the pink tone to it. All right. Pack some more onto there. All right. I am going to now move into doing the liner. Now, I'm probably going to start with the Crocodile Tears to do the line, but I'm also wondering if I should do a black line with this, because, wow, maybe I'll do black wing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do the liner, and I'll be back briefly. Okay, so what I did is I actually lined the eye. I used the Pretty Easy liner in black from Clinique. Put down a piece of Scotch tape and just kind of ran that over, but even tape isn't perfect. There's a little piece underneath that I need to clean up and remove. So I am going to take some makeup remover, maybe, if I can find it. Actually, I'm just going to take a little bit of moisture off of a wipe. See if I can use that to clean it up. If not, I can always conceal underneath too to clean that up. But this seems to be working well. Pretty cleaned up. All right, so I'm going to go back into the James Charles palette with my M503 brush right into Daddy. Whoops. Picking up product on the tip of the brush, tapping off some of the excess, and running that right underneath, under the eye, really blending that back and forth. I'm going to run it right underneath the shadow, just to kind of pull the whole thing together, or under the liner. Just kind of give that more of a cohesive look. Maybe I'll go back in with the Social Blade. Let's see how that looks. Grabbing a little bit of Social Blade on the tip, right underneath. Pulling that through. Okay. Going to grab some black liner for the inner waterline. I'm using my MAC Feline pencil. Pop that right on the waterline. Good morning, child. Were they duking? What was going on?
We didn't get out till like 1:30 because what time? 1?
I decided that I'm going to pop some glitter along the crease. So I'm using my NYX glitter glue, and I have a NYX stack palette that's got some black hollow, silver hollow, and some green, and I've kind of dumped them all out and mixed them together. So I am going to grab myself an angled brush, get out some of the glitter glue. I'm going to pop the glitter glue right along the crease. Then I'm going to use the brush, pick up some of the glitter, shake off some of the excess if I can, push that right on in. Go back in. I think I'm going to pull it all the way across. I think I'm going to dip right into some of that darker black. I just want to darken it up. I feel like it lightened it just a little too much. So going into just the black. There we go. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side, and I will show you guys the final process, the final picture.